I'm going to say it. You do not need to work out twice a day, 7 days a week. And if you miss one, you have to start all over. Like, who wants that kind of pressure on their shoulders? I know that I don't. And friend, you don't need to do all of that in order to reach your goals, especially if you want to keep those results, because that should always be the goal. So if you are sitting in a place where you are just frustrated with the fitness game, then today's going to be a really important conversation to pull up a chair and chat about it. So welcome to the Solution Talk. My name is Jamie Summers, and I am really glad that you are here. Today's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one breaking through all of this. So just a little itty bitty background on me. I've been in this industry for what feels like forever. I think since 2011. I have seen what feels like just about everything out there. I'm talking like old school hip hop abs. Totally did it and thought I was the coolest chick in school. But yeah, I don't know if you remember that. And if you don't, I totally just aged myself. So there's that. But I feel like I have made it through a lot of the noise out there and a lot of the frustration. And what I love about all of it is even though I was stuck frustrated through doing all of the things, working out like a crazy amount and literally not reaching my goals and or just feeling like crap the whole way, like you should feel good on your journey. You should have energy, right? You shouldn't have bags underneath your eyes. Like we can get into a whole tailspin here, but let me reel it back in because I'm going to tell you through all of that what I learned, not only grabbing a hold of my bachelor's in health and wellness, I also grabbed a hold of one of my biggest core beliefs. And this is unshakable. And here it is. I believe that the whole point of bettering our health is to keep it better. Period. The end. Like that is it. Like you want to maintain your results. And if we do things that are crazy restrictive or unrealistic to stick to for the long haul, how can we expect to keep our results of that thing for the long haul? Right? Like, can I get an amen? Like, you could drop it in the comments. Amen, sister. So today we're going to talk about the gym with a G. And we're going to break down some beliefs together. We're going to simplify some expectations because how many of us in these moments of like pure motivation, like I'm going to lose this weight, I'm going to tone on up, summer's coming, vacation's around the corner, and I am all in going to do this. And we think we need to go straight to the gym. Like, absolutely guilty over here. I've been there. I get it. And the gym is important. I don't want you to hear me wrong. The gym is absolutely very important. Movement matters, but all movement matters. So with that being said, all movement kept consistent is what is going to matter the most. And by the time that we are done today, you're going to leave this conversation with the mindset of, you know what? I can grab a hold of some non-negotiables in my life. I can realize that all movement matters. I don't have to put all of these crazy expectations on my shoulders in order to reach the goal. I used to give all of my results to the gym. I was working out 5 days a week, if not more. And if I missed a day, I felt so guilty. I literally felt like I was spinning my wheels. Like I'm doing all of the quote unquote right things and literally not reaching the goals of those things. And here's the hard truth that really started to change everything for me. Friend, the gym is where we break down muscle, and the kitchen and our pillow are where we build it. So not only do we have to prioritize our movement, but let's not discredit how we fuel our body and how we sleep. Like those are very, very important things. And we're not going to get into all of that today, but I definitely cannot talk about building muscle and prioritizing movement without that forefront of making sure that we are fueling ourselves well. Like we have to eat for the health that we want, not the health that we have, right? We have to protect it. We have to prioritize it. And that is always going to be an important thing. Like whole foods are at the forefront of everything when it comes to health. And movement is a big part of that as well. It's all like this big puzzle piece that kind of goes together, but it's not overwhelming. It's just the industry makes it confusing and it really doesn't need to be. So if you are going to the gym consistently, but you are not eating enough of the right things, and you're not sleeping enough, and you're not drinking enough water, and you're like hella stressed out. Well, friend, you're breaking your body down and not giving it what it needs to rebuild. Like, we need to pause, we need to take a breath, and we need to realize that we are working against ourselves. And that sounds so silly because we're going to the gym, we're doing the thing, we're crushing it, we're on these diets, and we are not seeing things shift. It is because we are doing too much. Okay. And most people have no idea because, I mean, who talks about this? Not many people. So recovery is not an option. Nope. Recovery is where the results actually start to happen. And here is why building and protecting muscle is going to matter so much. I used to say back in the day, there is a correct way to lose weight and not a correct way, right? And correct weight loss, if your body does need to lose weight, is seeing muscle definition on the other side. So keep that in mind. So it's not just for how we look, but it is also for how we live. Basically, your muscle is your metabolism, okay? And every pound of muscle that we have on our body, that is helping burn calories at rest. So when we lose it or we prioritize losing the whole number on the scale and not paying attention to what the whole number actually breaks down to, your body fat and your muscle, we can never sacrifice muscle for the sake of the quote unquote win of the scale, because that is going to slow everything down when we start to lose muscle, right? Fat loss, energy, blood sugar regulation, hormones, all of it is going to start to get harder and harder the more muscle that we lose. I would love to pause here for a second. I will tell you, home scales are never 100% accurate. They're just not. But if you can have one that you can track your trends on, that is going to be a good thing. Now, if you want more of a full picture story, you can always schedule like a DEXA scan or get a water bod pod. Those are definitely more accurate. But for the day in day, like in and out, trying to figure out what is working in your life and paying attention to that. I mean, I have an Arbaleaf scale at my house. And, you wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you get in your birthday suit, you put your naked feet on that scale, and that is where you can start to see where your results are actually taking your life, right? Pay attention to if you're sacrificing muscle, we need to make some adjustments in our day to day choices. So definitely pay attention to that. But what drives me crazy about like not only this crazy expectation of what we have to do in the gym, but then the other side of it of like the crazy diet culture. Like, if you know me, you know I hate a diet. Like, diets don't work. Most restrictive programs have people eating so little that that also sacrifices muscle along with the fat that they want to lose. But the second they let go of that restrictive ball, what do you think is going to happen if you start to go back to eating how you were? Like, obviously, you're going to gain the weight back, right? We've heard about the yo yo, but like, let's take it one step further, because if we do things that are too restrictive and we're losing muscle because of it, my friend, you are actually going to have a slower metabolism after losing that weight because you took your muscle down with it. So you're actually going to gain even more back, even if you went back to your baseline of what you were doing. So that is why it is so important to keep a very clear eye on what is actually working inside the body and realizing that the whole number on the scale will never tell you the whole story. So keeping that in mind is very, very important. So let's keep moving on, right? So we have covered that we never want to sacrifice muscle for the win of the scale. Like, check. And the goal is always going to be to build and protect our muscle. So that is going to help for the quality of our life. Like, you have to think longevity, not just right now. We have to talk about muscle is what's going to protect all of our major organs, and it's going to help us as we age 50, 60, 70, and beyond. So, what is a really great thing to do is not only learning how to eat for the health that you want, but also having a realistic training program that can make a real difference in your life. And we do not have to live in the gym. Like, I need you to hear me loud and clear. You do not have to crush it every single day You need to just be consistent with what makes sense for you. So pause here for a moment and ask yourself, how many days a week can I realistically show up and make it a non negotiable to put myself on my own schedule for my workouts? And whatever number that is, then take it one step further and ask yourself, well, can I do that for the rest of my life? And if the answer is like, yeah, I can totally crush this for the rest of my life, then you know that you're not going to be setting yourself up for failure. Because when we are looking at moments of motivation and excitement, we go all in and probably too all in. And then we start to get the overwhelm on our shoulders. And then we start to have that negative script creep on up because it's going to start telling us like we're not doing enough, we're not hitting what we said that we would. And then it's just this constant spiral. So for me personally, with my strength training, it's 3 days a week, non negotiable. That is what I am crushing. Everything else on top of that is just extra. And when you treat it like a non negotiable instead of something that you're just going to get to when you have the time in your day, let me tell you about time in the day. Something's going to creep on in, a life curveball. Something's going to happen to where that is going to take priority in the moment over any workout that you didn't actually schedule, right? So let me tell you, life is never going to settle down. Everything is always going to change on up. So we have to take a step back. We have to look at our schedule and maybe it's a week at a time. Like sit down on a Sunday and say, all right, what the heck do I have going on this week? And then look at the things that you have to do and then look at the things that you want to do for yourself. And let me tell you, when we focus on those two things, the things that we get to do in our life is going to be so much easier to be able to flow through because we have prioritized our priorities. Today, we are going to decide that we are going to put ourselves in our own schedule and adhere to that, like an appointment that we would never cancel. Like if you got a hair appointment, girl, you know you are showing up for that, right? Like you know that you're not going to miss it. So if it's important to you, you will definitely find a way. And sometimes we need to think beyond the surface level of why working out or why these goals are important to us. You know, for me, when I was over 200 pounds, it definitely was the mindset of just being frustrated in my day, of not feeling like I had the energy that I wanted to have for my kids. And I put the mindset on that I am going to be the healthy mom that those two kids deserve, period, the end. And I am going to figure it out through the frustration. Like, choose your hard, right? It's hard to show up, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be even harder if we don't. So you need to know the reason behind why it is important to you because then the how to is going to start to be so much easier to show up for. And not easier as in it's easy to do, but easier as in it's easier not to give up on yourself through the frustration, through the hard. So decide that you're going to put yourself in your own calendar, figure out why it's important to you, and don't forget it. And if you need an accountability partner, like tell someone in the corner of your life why this is important to you, how many days you're going to show up for yourself every single week, and have them hold your toes to the fire so that when you're like a life's curveball came in and I'm not going to show up, I'm not going to do it, they have permission to check you. And you know what? My sister in law, she is that person for me, and she will tell me all the time, but you said, and it's like, oh, I know what I said. And then you roll your eyes, you put your damn shoes on, and you get your freaking workout in, and you do it anyway. Period. The end. So that is a huge, huge tip, and hopefully it can add some value for you. But I do want to touch on this because I feel like in the gym space, this is something that I have definitely had a lot of conversations with people. And sometimes the gym can be a little intimidating, right? We play this comparison in our head for a second. And I definitely was there too, because like you walk into like a group fitness class and you see all these people that like they know the routines, they know what to do, and you're brand freaking new. And in your head, you think everybody's looking at you, and it's like, oh my goodness. So what we fail to realize is that everybody had their day one, right? So we have to stop comparing our day one to somebody's year 5 or 7 days, whatever it is. You walk into a gym and you see someone lifting heavy or moving in a way that looks so effortless, and you start to feel like behind before you even start. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop putting that on our shoulders. But the person that they once were, like, I'm pretty sure they can relate with those same feelings. Like, we all had those moments when we're like, yeah, we're going to put our yes first. We're going to show up. We're going to do this thing. And we walk in and we're brand new. But guess what? The person that you are today, the person that you see in the mirror today, is the person that's going to change your life. So, hell yeah, show up. Like, get inspired, right? Your day one stayed consistent is quickly going to turn into your year 5 and beyond. So never give up on yourself because you feel like other people in the gym have it together. Because, my friend, they are there working on their best selves just like you are. And the right gym community and culture, they're going to lift you up. They're going to help you through. Community is so important. So never, never, never put that on your shoulders. I definitely wanted to mention that. But the one thing that is going to separate where you are from where you want to be is going to be that consistency and that time. And overwhelm definitely can be a real thing. Like, I see it all the time. People think that they have to have everything perfect. And if they don't, it doesn't count, or they start to get frustrated in the pursuit. And at the end of the day, like, I think a lot of us have to take off the expectation of the goal because summer's coming, or the goal because we have a vacation, or the goal because we have a wedding coming up. Like, this is the rest of your happy, healthy life. Like, there is not an end date on that, my friend. So we have to show up and we have to do the things that are going to better our health and better our life. And touching back on like somebody's year 5 to your day 1, like, I really think that we need to realize that all movement matters, right? And maybe, just maybe, where you're at right now might just be, you know what, I'm going to start prioritizing walking. And I can go into a whole thing about how walking is going to do so much more for our health than any medication out there. And we'll get into it. I'm sure we'll get into it in a few minutes, but not discrediting that and getting like the basics so sexy that you show up and you freaking crush that. And when you do that, you start to build belief within your own movement, and that pours into doing more, to maybe showing up to some fitness classes, to start lifting some dumbbells, maybe even it's body weight movements. Like, don't discredit the basics. You get those done well. You never compromise form. You listen to your body because it is the best hospital in time. It is the best hospital in town. And you start to show up for IOU, right? Where I started in my journey definitely wasn't my 225-pound deadlift. And yeah, I'm going to give a little high five for myself because I never, ever thought that was going to be possible for me. Ever. If you would have asked me back when I first started going to the gym and started working out, if I would have been able to lift 225 freaking pounds, I'd have been like, hell no, no way. But you know what? Staying consistent with the small wins in my life created the big wins in my life. So don't give up. You don't know what is ahead of you if you stop. Okay. So, with that being said, let's talk about how your mindset is going to give up long before your body does. Okay. And you have to know the difference between pushing yourself too far and pushing yourself through. Like, that is a very, very important things. But I'm going to take you back to one of my strength classes that I taught years ago. And it was so fun because we literally crushed it. And we were smoked. We were done. And I had a burner at the end. And I said, all right, we're all going to do planks. And we're going to do a 1-minute plank. And when I tell you that entire room looked at me and was already defeated, they're like, we can't do a minute. There ain't no friggin' way. We ain't doing a minute. And I'm like, okay, cool. Here's what I want you to promise me. You're going to do what you can. You're going to give it your all. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like, if you don't hit a minute, but you know that you gave it your all, bet that's going to be great. I'm going to start the timer. We're all going to do this together, and you stay strong for as long as you can. Okay. And I told them I was going to have the timer counting down. Little did they know, I kind of lied. I lied to them, and I lied to them on purpose because I know that your mind is gonna give up long before your body does. And this is just a perfect example of this. So as I am walking around telling them like, "You're crushing it, you're doing it, we're almost there," and they keep looking at me like, "Oh my gosh, surely it's been a minute." And even some of them are like, "There's no way we're not at a minute yet." And I'm like, "We're not there yet. Just keep going. Like, stay strong. Like, hold it as much as you can." Friends, those women in the room literally held their plank anywhere from 2 minutes to I think almost 3 minutes. And they were telling me there ain't no way they're going to hit one. And that is where I definitely broke down that whole mindset is going to be where you give up on yourself before your body does. So you definitely have to show up. Mindset is so key in everything that we do. So, I mean, if you keep telling yourself that you can't do something, like those that say that they can and those that say that they can't are both usually right. So I definitely wanted to throw that in there for you because I think that it's important because sometimes the voice that we've been listening to in our head has been lying to us this whole time. Like we need to get out of our own damn way and we need to show the hell up and realize that we are more capable than we give ourselves credit for. I know I mentioned like making the basics sexy. So maybe I could throw like a little challenge out there. Maybe you're not ready to hit the gym, a group class, or strength train on the floor, but maybe just focusing on hitting your steps every day is where you start. And I'll tell you, even for me, who's been in this industry for as long as I have, I was sucking at hitting my steps. And it came with a very clear moment of coming home from a Disney trip and easily hitting 26,000 steps in a day. And obviously, like you're at vacation and like you're walking everywhere in Disney World, but still doesn't give an excuse to come home and only hit 2,200 steps in a day. Like, I needed to be more mindful with how I was prioritizing the pockets of my day. And I literally looked at my Whoop and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I need to figure this out. If you have not read the book by Casey Means, it's called Good Energy. It is a great, great read. And she was talking about, actually, let me pause this and I'm going to grab it for you. Hold on. Okay, I have it. It is on page 219, and I'm telling you, this is a go to book. You should absolutely grab it. But this is what she said. Simply walking about 10,000 steps per day is associated with the following: 50% lower dementia risk, 50 to 70% lower risk of premature death, 44% lower risk of getting type 2 diabetes, 31% lower risk of obesity, significant reductions in cancer occurrence, major depression, gastric reflux, and sleep apnea. Then she went on to say that zero medications, or surgeries can do for chronic disease prevention what walking about 10,000 steps a day can do. I mean, right there, you had me at 50 to 70% lower risk of premature death. Like, that is amazing. And I had to look at what I was actually getting in and realizing I needed to do better. And being in this space, I know that if I need to do better, there are probably lots of us that can say the same thing. So I panicked in my life for a moment and I went on social media and I'm like, I'm going to start a virtual walking club. It's going to be where all the cool kids hang out. And I put myself out there and said, whoever wants to join, it's absolutely free and we're going to walk it out. Like, and I tell you what, I started this in April and towards the end of April, I created a new consistency in my own personal life. There are a lot of people that are doing the same thing, and it adds so much benefit to your mindset, to your overall health, and you just feel better. Right. So we kept it going. We're in May right now. And then I like one upped all of our goals and said, we're going to do May 5K a day challenge and crush it. I didn't realize that May is like the national walking month. So here we are. And you can pick whatever amount of 5Ks you want to walk in the entire month. Like it is a you versus you. This life always is. And I'm going to tell you something. I have literally hit every single day. And I am so freaking proud of myself that I have literally changed a consistency in my life. And it's a healthy habit that I know is benefiting my life. And putting yourself out there definitely can, help others. So if you want to be a part of where the cool kids hang out, it is a free walking virtual club group. I don't even know if I said that right, but you know what I'm putting down. Like it is a free virtual club. It's a lot of fun. So if you want to come hang out where all the cool kids are, like that is our virtual walking club, I will throw the free invite link in the show notes. And yeah, I have tons of playlists on Spotify, which is really great. You can press play, walk on your own. We do live walks on Wednesday, and it's literally a 20-minute walk that is going to be so beneficial for the rest of your day. So we talked about a lot today. I definitely wanted to kind of break through some of the things that a lot of us feel like we need to put on our plate and we hold over our shoulders when it comes to the expectations of what we actually have to do in order to reach our results, right? Like, do not set yourself up for unrealistic expectations because that is going to lead to one place. That is going to lead to frustration. And then finally just saying, F it, I'm out, I'm not doing it. And then you just start the whole process over again. So you have to find your personal non negotiables. I wanted to talk about making sure that we know that all movement matters. And that's a big reason why I talked about like prioritizing your walks and getting your steps in and making those basics sexy. Because if we could get those down and we can keep those consistent, that is going to pour into more belief under our feet and more confidence in our movement. And that is going to set us up for nothing but success moving forward when we can have that be a priority. And then we look at the other puzzle pieces in our life with the same mindset of being able to keep things consistent that are proven to make a difference in our life. So never, ever, ever sacrifice muscle for the win of that scale, right? We have to pay attention to that. That's so, so important. Eat for the health that we want, not the health that we have. I know we talked about that. And I think that that deserves its own conversation. So that will probably be dropping soon. I think that that would be definitely a good one to kind of simplify that for everyone. But I want to leave you with this today because I think that it can kind of shape a great perspective shift for you. And that is no matter where you're at in your fitness journey, whether you feel like, you know what, I got to start with some simple walks, or you're already crushing it in some group fitness classes, or maybe you are strength training, right? Doing the back squat, the deadlift, all of that, right? No matter where you're at, find something that you love. Like, know that all movement matters and it doesn't have to be something that you dread. Like, I used to go to dance fitness classes before I started teaching them, and I just really loved that I was able to check life at the door and get lost in the music. And that is a big reason why I decided to become a Zumba instructor. And then I went off on my own and did my own dance fitness, and I loved it. And I decided to let it go because my kids were heavily into sports. And as a mom, I just wasn't willing to miss that time. And it's the best decision that I ever made. But I will tell you, throughout that time frame, my husband and I, we built up our third car garage and we created a home gym. So it never gave me like a reason to leave the house to go to the gym because I had one sitting at like 2 feet from me, right? So with that being said, being so long of not teaching my classes, like couldn't even tell you the last time I even went to a dance fitness class. So as the kids graduated, man, last year, our youngest this is crazy. So I'm at like this new season of my life. And I knew that dance fitness was something that was important to me. Like that's something that I love. And I missed it. And I missed teaching it. But like I need to like get back into it. So I decided to check out a class that was about 30 minutes from my house. This was a little over a year ago. And man, I could sit back and say that I probably tried to set myself up for failure because it's so far. Like to try and stay consistent with that, I'm like, okay, we're going to go. But I was sitting in the parking lot and I almost did not go in. Like so close to not going in. And that is another conversation for another day. But I ended up walking in. And when I tell you that I was exactly where I needed to be at the exact moment with the right instructor, that I found myself back in a great community surrounded by amazing people. And not only do I still go to that gym that is 30 minutes away, but also have found a community pretty close to my house, about 10, 15 minutes away. And man, I look forward to checking the world at the door Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm like, who is this? Like, I am crushing it, and it doesn't even feel like I'm working out because I genuinely love it. Plus, little side note, I hate running, so your girl doesn't do a lot of cardio. So my dance fitness is my cardio, but it's so much freaking fun. So find something that you love, and then it makes it easier to show up and get around a great community of people and do it for you. Right? Because when you get to walk into a room and you get to check the world at the door and you get to get lost in the music, and dance fitness might not be for you. Let it be something else. Maybe it's boxing. Maybe it's swimming. Like maybe it is a strength class. Whatever it is, just go try something. Try it for the first time, right? If it's dance fitness, give it 3 times before you decide it's not for you. Go allow yourself to find those things that you can show up for, that you look forward to. Because when you can have that, then that consistency factor becomes a whole lot easier because you're doing what you want to do for you, getting around a community. Go find your people because the right environment makes showing up so much easier. Like, just trust me with that. So, you're not just going to go for the workout, you're going to go because you genuinely like have great connection with people. With that being said, I hope that this conversation added some perspective, added some value, gave you that freedom of, you know what? I don't have to do a million and one things in order to reach the goals that I say that I want. I just have to get the basics sexy and I have to stay consistent with that. And that definitely looks different for so many of us. So, whether you are crushing it with your walks, hitting the gym, doing the big lifts, no matter where you're at, do what you can with where you are, with what you have. So, with that being said, if you are looking for some accountability around hitting your steps, join that free virtual walking group. Like, it is a lot of fun, right? And plus, the music, the playlist that I put together, is like a beat per minute, right? So it's gonna help keep you on point with your steps, and before you know it, like, it's like 5 songs is 20 minutes, and you're gonna be done. And I'll tell you, like, for me, when I'm hitting my, walking pad in my office when I do that, at, like, 3.7, I get about 2,200 steps. 2,200 steps in that 20-minute time frame. And mind you, my friend, I was having multiple days where I wasn't even getting 2,200 steps in a day. And now my 20-minute playlist knock that out like it's nothing. So you never know where you can be with simple consistency, right? So with that, if you're looking at maybe hitting up some group fitness classes, if you are in my area, like, let's go crush it together. Like, reach on out. We'll do some classes. It'd be so great. If you are looking to add a little bit of strength training into your life, I can absolutely drop my program that I am doing right now. It's 3 days a week. It is a very simple program, but it's very purposeful. It's progressive overload. Like, I love it. I can promise you this: you're either going to love to hate me or you're going to hate to love me. And sometimes that can happen on the same day. But nonetheless, I really hope at the end of this conversation that you just breathe through the mindset of knowing that all movement matters. Period. The end. And with that, if today added something that added some value to your life, share it up. Maybe someone in your life needs to hear it too. Maybe they are in this constant wheel of frustration because they think that they have to have all of these things or do all of these workouts in order to reach their goals, and maybe they just need to just breathe through what their non-negotiables actually can be, marry that, and then talk about upping yourself. Like, okay, if we can do this and we can stay consistent with it, then now we're going to build up belief, we're going to build up that consistency, we're going to see great changes in our life. And as we start to do better, we start to feel better. And when you start to feel better, you can do even more. So with that being said, I hope that today found you well. I hope that it was a great conversation of great value for you. And hey, I'll see you next week. And until then, let me know what movement matters to you. Drop that in the notes below, and you have the healthiest day. All right, we'll see you guys. Bye.